Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bosch. The number of clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Bosch Clean Diesel. Good, clean, fun. Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion. Dow Automotive Systems. Improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com. And by the 2013 Hyundai Sonata. Learn more at HyundaiSonata.com.
Hello and welcome to Autoline Daily. We're halfway through the week, and here's some of the latest news of what's happening in the global automotive industry. Well, today is GM's turn to report its third quarter earnings. The company boosted its global sales by 36,000 vehicles to almost 2.3 million cars and trucks. That boosted revenue to $37.5 billion, an increase of $857 million. That improved the company's operating profit by 4% to nearly $2.3 billion, but the bottom line did not look so good. Net profits dropped 13% to $1.8 billion. And you know, this has got to be somewhat embarrassing to General Motors. It sold 1 million more vehicles than Ford, but it's barely out-earning its crosstown rival. GM showed big improvements in Asia and South America, but its profits dropped in North America, and its losses in Europe are growing wider by the quarter. While most major automotive markets are slowing down, North America continues running strong. Ward's Auto reports that capacity utilization at assembly plants was 93% in the third quarter, the highest for this period since Ward's started tracking the data. For the full year, capacity utilization is expected to be around 96% and will rise slightly next year. The record-breaking numbers are mainly due to automakers using three-shift operations. But capacity utilization could fall this quarter because of Hurricane Sandy, which is already impacting car sales. Earlier this month, Ward's forecast that this month's SAAR would hit 15 million units, but now it predicts that's going to fall to 14.5 million units because of the storm. Hurricane Sandy claimed over a dozen new victims, but we're not talking about bodies. We're talking cars. About 16 Fisker Karmas were parked in Port Newark, New Jersey last night when water submerged the vehicles. Jalopnik reports the cars caught fire and burned to the ground. And you know, this could potentially trigger a lot of worry about the safety of lithium-ion batteries, and it's going to further tarnish Fisker's image. Speaking of EVs, Renault is pushing heavily to corner the EV market in Europe. By the end of this year, it's going to have 4 pure electric models, more than any other automaker, but that's not translating into very many sales. The company has sold just under 14,000 EVs worldwide through September. Not surprisingly, Renault has fared better in Europe than the rest of the world. Its Kangoo and Fluence EVs account for 28% of the EV market, and the company has sold close to 8,000 of its small city car EV, the Twizy. Renault is also going to launch its Zoe electric car at the end of the year. Even so, it's eye-opening to see how poorly electric cars are selling in Europe, where gasoline averages $8 a gallon. Ford is beginning to use production components in some of its race cars, like this twin-turbocharged Mustang Cobra jet concept that's at the SEMA show. Its turbos are based on units that are used in the Focus ST, but are 40% larger, allowing it to run an 8-second quarter mile. And that's a fast Mustang. Ford uses production components in a racing environment because of the rapid learning curve and feedback it provides to go back into everyday driving vehicles. Hey, coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Dow Automotive Systems, driving solutions in automotive, commercial transportation, and aftermarket with innovative products like Betamate structural adhesives. Lighter, stronger, safer. dowbetamate.com.
And now it's time for some of your feedback. Harold Rogers heard us talking about the take rates involving hybrid versions of cars, and he wants to know, what is a take rate? Well, Harold, that's industry jargon that describes the percentage of people who choose an option on a car. Or to put it another way, it's the rate at which they take that option. So, for example, if 10% of customers choose to buy a hybrid version of a given model of a car, then we say it had a 10% take rate. We sure got a bunch of feedback from a bunch of you on Ernie Brink's ideas of how to improve the Wankel engine. Pyrite42 wrote in to say, as a fan of the Wankel concept who is aware of its limitations, I have to admit I was more than skeptical. After watching Ernie's portion, I have to admit I am more than a little excited. I hope Mazda does back this so we can learn one way or the other if Ernie's ideas pan out. Autoline, please keep us updated. Well, all I can say is, if anything does come of this, you will be the first to know. Ed heard our report that the SAR could go back to 15 million units, but he doesn't agree with me that this signals a full recovery in the American car market. He says, I remember the SAR was at 16 million in 2008 when the crash came. With population increase and time, 4 years hence, SAR should be more than that, at least upwards of 16. Any way you cut it, it's in decline or dragging. But call it like it is. Ed, remember that when the SAR was at 16 million and above, that was the era of cheap credit. The experts that I've talked to estimate that boosted sales by well over 1 million units a year. So without all that cheap credit, a situation in which we find ourselves today, the natural rate of the market is more like 15 million. And while you are right about population increase, the high unemployment rate is definitely holding back sales. Say, we were very grateful to hear from so many of you as we celebrated the 1,000th showing of Autoline Daily. Emmy says, John, team, congratulations on 1,000 shows. I'm another tiny little piece of this huge global automotive industry watching Autoline Daily in Japan. I happened to find your show 2 years ago, and since then, watching it is the first thing I do in the office every morning. Just love your shows, and I'm a big fan of John. Emmy, you make me blush. You know, I got a great team here, and we love what we're doing. But even though you do love us, you're not afraid to call us out when you think we've made a mistake. Richard Arnold, who says he's the editor of BMW TV Guide, though I've got no idea what that means. Anyway, he says, John, I enjoyed your piece on the BMW Alpina B7, but your transcript of the video misspelled Alpina, a common error committed by the automotive press. Both BMW and Alpina spell BMW and Alpina in all caps. Richard, thanks for the correction. We'll try to remember that in the future. And thanks all of you for your letters and comments, and please keep them coming. And don't forget that we're also interested in getting any cool pictures or videos that you're interested in sending us. And don't forget, there's not going to be an Autoline After Hours tomorrow night. I am traveling to Marysville, Ohio tomorrow as Honda celebrates its 30th anniversary of manufacturing in America. But After Hours will be back next week with special guest Sandy Monroe, who's got a lot of inside information of what it really costs an automaker to build an electric car. That's going to be a dramatic show. Anyway, that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.